In the busy streets of New York City, where people chase their dreams amidst the hustle, Ethan Carter, a self-made billionaire and CEO of a technology company, walked through Central Park. The park was his place to relax, away from the pressures of his life. Despite his success, with a luxury apartment and many influential friends, Ethan often felt lonely. As he strolled past colorful flowers and families enjoying the sun, he saw a stall with handmade jewelry. Curious, he walked over and met Sarah Thompson, a woman with beautiful blue eyes full of creativity. She was selling jewelry made from natural materials, with each piece telling a story of strength and art. Ethan was immediately fascinated by her passion and the honesty she radiated. As they talked, Sarah laughed warmly and showed kindness. They shared stories about their lives, and Ethan opened up about his childhood, his simple background, the sacrifices his parents made, and the unyielding drive that pushed him to success. It was refreshing for Ethan to talk so openly, something he wasn't used to in his world. Days turned into weeks, and Ethan and Sarah spent more time together. Their bond grew, just like the flowers in the park. They explored the city together, from art galleries to cozy coffee shops, sharing dreams under the sparkling skyline. Ethan was not only drawn to Sarah's beauty, but also to her inspiring story of perseverance. She talked about her struggles and how she had used her passion for making jewelry to rebuild her life. Are you curious about the rest of this story and more of our stories? Sir's Bribe now. Their outings revealed not only their interests but also their personalities. They both loved classic literature and often quoted their favorite authors during conversations. Sarah had studied film, which led to lively discussions about stories and characters. Yet beneath Sarah's charm and strength, there was something that haunted her, a secret that weighed heavily on her. She was working hard to rebuild her life, but the fear of her past returning tormented her. As her feelings for Ethan grew stronger, so did her anxiety about revealing the truth. One evening, while dining at a cozy restaurant lit by candles, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and fear. The atmosphere was perfect, but her heart raced because she knew it was time to share her story. With a trembling voice, she told him about her painful experiences, how she had been deceived by a charming con artist who stole her savings and shattered her sense of security. After that betrayal, she faced a long, difficult journey to survive. Ethan listened intently, his heart breaking for the woman he was beginning to love. He admired her resilience and the courage it took to confront her past. "You are not defined by what happened to you, Sarah," he said softly. "What matters is how you have risen from it. I am here for you, no matter what." His words wrapped around her like a warm hug, and Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. Despite the weight of her revelation, Sarah felt lighter, convinced that their bond could withstand the test of time. They spent the rest of the evening discussing their dreams for the future, with Ethan sharing his aspirations for his company and Sarah expressing her desire to start her own jewelry line. But just as they began to envision a future together, an unforeseen threat emerged from the shadows. The con artist, the man who had shattered Sarah's life, suddenly resurfaced. He had been tracking her and was waiting for the right moment to strike. This time, however, his intentions were much worse. He threatened to expose Sarah's secrets, hoping to ruin her reputation and force her into silence. Sarah's anxiety grew, and she feared that her relationship with Ethan would collapse under the weight of her secrets. The threat hung over them, creating a gap between them that could not be ignored. Ethan sensed Sarah's growing unease and tried to bridge the gap between them. However, Sarah, overwhelmed by fear and shame, withdrew, feeling unworthy of the love he offered. During this difficult time, Ethan noticed that Sarah was not her usual cheerful self. Her laughter seemed forced, and she appeared distracted. He worried and tried to ask her what was wrong, but each time he did, he got no response. The emotional distance between them grew, leaving Ethan feeling vulnerable and frustrated. As the pressure increased, Sarah found herself caught in an emotional spiral. She wanted to protect Ethan from her troubled past, but the more she withdrew, the more Ethan felt confused and hurt. He couldn't understand why Sarah was acting so differently, and his concern grew. In a moment of desperation, Sarah decided to confide in her best friend Mia, who had always supported her. Mia urged Sarah to be honest with Ethan emphasizing that true love is about trust and vulnerability. With renewed determination, Sarah resolved to tell Ethan everything, hoping their bond could withstand the test. Finally, after a sleepless night filled with anxiety, Sarah sent Ethan a message inviting him to her apartment. She knew this conversation could change everything. One evening, Sarah invited Ethan to her apartment, her heart pounding as she prepared to lay bare her soul. She recounted everything: the betrayal by the con artist, her years of struggle, and the fear that now haunted her. Ethan listened, his expression a mix of shock and compassion. When she finished, there was a long silence in the room, heavy with unspoken emotions. After what felt like an eternity, Ethan took her hands in his and looked deep into her eyes. "You are not defined by your past, Sarah. What matters is who you are today and the strength you've shown in overcoming it," he said, his voice steady. Sarah felt a rush of relief as she realized Ethan's love was unwavering, even in the face of her darkest truths. Yet just as they thought they were back on track, the con artist's threats intensified. He contacted Sarah, demanding money in exchange for his silence. Desperate to protect Ethan, Sarah considered giving in to his demands, but Ethan, sensing her turmoil, urged her to stay strong. With their bond stronger than ever, Ethan and Sarah decided to confront the con artist together. They made a plan to gather evidence of his deceitful actions, determined to protect Sarah's newfound happiness and reputation. As they dug deeper, they discovered that the con artist had been involved in several fraudulent schemes, preying on vulnerable people like Sarah. Their investigation led them to a surprising ally, an old friend of Sarah's, Jessica, who had also fallen victim to the con artist. Jessica had managed to escape her situation and was now working to help others who had suffered similar fates. Together, they formed a coalition to expose him, gathering testimonies and evidence to present to the authorities. As they worked together, Sarah felt empowered, realizing she was no longer a victim, but a warrior fighting for justice. However, as they delved into the con artist's history, they uncovered something even more shocking. He had ties to a larger network of fraudsters operating in the city for years. This discovery sent chills down Sarah's spine, and the stakes grew higher as they realized they were facing something much bigger than they had anticipated. The confrontation with the con artist took place in a dimly lit warehouse where they had arranged to meet. Sarah and Ethan, along with Jessica and their other allies, faced the man who had caused so much pain in Sarah's life. With fire in her heart, Sarah laid out the evidence against him, detailing the impact of his actions on her life and the lives of others. However, as they confronted him, the con artist revealed a shocking twist. He was not acting alone. He was working for someone else, someone from Sarah's past who had a vested interest in controlling her life. That person was none other than Sarah's estranged father, who had abandoned her and her mother when they needed him the most. He had orchestrated the entire scheme to manipulate Sarah back into his life, hoping to regain control over her. This revelation shocked Sarah deeply. She had spent years trying to move on from her father's abandonment, and now he was once again a threat in her life. The emotional burden was enormous, and she felt a mix of anger, betrayal, and confusion. Ethan, witnessing her pain, stepped forward, determined to protect her. The confrontation escalated, and Sarah was forced to face not only the con artist, but also the father she had tried to forget. "Why would you do this to me?" Sarah cried, her voice trembling with anger and betrayal. "You left me when I needed you most, and now you want to control me again?" Her father, filled with regret and desperation, tried to justify his actions. He claimed he did it all for her own good, believing he could protect her from the cruelty of the world. But Sarah, empowered by her journey and the love she found with Ethan, refused to let his manipulations control her any longer. Ethan, standing resolutely by her side, pointed out her father's hypocrisy. "You can't control her anymore. She's stronger than you'll ever know, and she has her own life now. You need to let her go." In a moment of vulnerability, Sarah faced her father and demanded closure. She needed to reclaim her narrative and own her past without his shadow looming over her. The confrontation reached its peak as Sarah walked away from her father, finally free from the chains of her past. With the con artist and her father behind her, Sarah felt an immense weight lift from her shoulders. She began the process of healing, working through the trauma that had lingered for far too long. With Ethan by her side, she embraced therapy and self-reflection, learning to forgive herself for her past and celebrate her resilience. Ethan also learned the value of vulnerability. He understood that true strength is not just about success, but also about connecting authentically with others. Their relationship deepened as they supported one another through their individual growth processes. As Sarah worked on her jewelry line, she began incorporating elements of her journey into her designs, pieces that symbolize strength and resilience. Each creation told a story, and soon her brand gained popularity for its unique perspective on overcoming hardship. As time passed, Sarah's jewelry line flourished, becoming a beacon of hope for those who had faced adversity. She began collaborating with local charities, donating a portion of her profits to organizations that supported victims of fraud and abuse. The empowerment she felt extended beyond her own healing. She was now helping others reclaim their lives and dreams. Ethan was her biggest supporter. He used his business skills to help Sarah navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship. Together, they organized workshops for women who had faced similar struggles, empowering them to find their voices and pursue their dreams. Sarah's nonprofit initiative thrived, creating a sense of community among women who had experienced hardship. Despite their successes, the shadow of Sarah's past remained a constant reminder of their journey. The emotional scars, while healing, still required attention. Together, they attended support groups, sharing their experiences with others who had faced adversity. This process not only strengthened their bond, but also reinforced their commitment to helping others. One evening, under a starlit sky during a charity event they had organized, Ethan took Sarah aside. With a heart full of love and admiration, he expressed how much she meant to him and how proud he was of her journey. As he knelt down and presented a stunning ring, he asked, "Will you marry me?" Tears of joy filled Sarah's eyes as she realized their love had triumphed over adversity. "Yes, 1,000 times, yes!" she exclaimed, embracing Ethan warmly. Their love story had taken a beautiful new turn. As they celebrated their engagement, Sarah felt that her past was a distant memory. She had conquered her demons and found a partner who cherished her for who she was. Ethan, in turn, discovered the true meaning of love, supporting each other through thick and thin. Ethan and Sarah began their wedding journey, surrounded by friends and family who had supported them through their struggles. The ceremony was a celebration of love, resilience, and the power of overcoming obstacles together. As they exchanged vows, they reflected on their journey, the darkness they had faced and the light they had found in each other. However, just as they settled into their new life together, they received unexpected news. Sarah's father reached out, seeking redemption. He had undergone therapy and was genuinely remorseful for his past actions, expressing a desire to reconnect and rebuild a relationship with Sarah. This revelation stirred a mix of emotions within Sarah. With Ethan's unwavering support, Sarah faced the dilemma of whether to allow her father back into her life. They discussed the implications of forgiveness and the importance of boundaries. Sarah decided to take the first step, agreeing to meet her father in a controlled setting, with Ethan by her side for support. Their meeting was emotional and filled with tension. Sarah expressed her hurt and anger, while also acknowledging her father's efforts to change. It was an honest conversation that revealed the complexities of family dynamics and the power of forgiveness. They agreed to take small steps toward rebuilding their relationship, with Sarah emphasizing that trust would take time. As Ethan and Sarah continued to navigate their lives together, they embraced the challenges ahead, knowing they could overcome anything as long as they stood united. Their story became a beacon of hope for others, illustrating that love can flourish even in the toughest circumstances. With their hearts intertwined, they looked forward to a future filled with possibilities, knowing that together they could create a life that celebrated both their triumphs and vulnerabilities.